Just trying to find the good lighting. Okay, I think we're good. I'm just going to give it a few seconds to load. I didn't give any notice, even on Instagram, for this live, and it's because it's going to be a very fast one. But I am going to be sharing something that's super important, and the reason why I'm going live is because I don't have time to film and edit, but I really want to get this out for you guys because I'm getting a lot of questions and a lot of confusion around cleansing and taking breaks and not being consistent with it. So I have a lot of clients, and I usually always recommend with clients, every 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, we do a follow-up and very consistently so we can just keep moving into the next phase of cleansing. And whenever these clients, or even people who aren't working with me, whenever you take breaks between the cleanses, their symptoms come back and they're not understanding why. So that's what this live video is going to explain. I want to do a sit down video so it can be like filmed in landscape, but I've been swamped today. I'm hopping in like literally 20 minutes for another consult, so I just want to do this super quick. So the way it works with cleansing is that you, over the years, growing since like literally the day you're born, based off of whether or not your mom had antibiotics or the foods you were fed, if you were on formula, etc., growing up all the way to where you are now, every decision you make, every food you put in your body, every perfume and toxic, substance you're inhaling or putting on your skin affects you positively or negatively. When you have a lot of toxicity and it starts to build up, and it's so easy for that to happen in the world we are in today because everything is laden with sugar, there's super carcinogenic colorings in our food and in our beauty products and heavy metals in our drinking water. So it's very easy to build up toxicity. So when you build up toxicity and your body starts to become overwhelmed over the years and you're not able to detoxify these toxins, what happens is your body literally stuffs toxins down into your fat cells, into your joints. And that way, when they're there, they're not causing inflammation. So it doesn't really harm your body, even though they're still in the body. When you start to detoxify, so if you decide to do a candida cleanse or a liver cleanse or something, so when you start to detoxify your body and you start fueling your body with the right foods, taking supplements, your body's like, okay, I think it's time to start bringing up these toxins that have been sitting in our body for years. It's time to start bringing them up into and release them into the blood so that they can be eliminated through your liver, out through your urine and your stool, from your kidneys. So if you are doing a cleanse, say for 30 days, or you go for 8 weeks, but then you stop and not really do much for a couple months or a couple weeks, and then try to get back into it, you will essentially have pretty much gone right back or gone backwards to where you were if you had done nothing at all. And the reason is when your body brings up these toxins, there's a lot of inflammation happening because these toxins are in your blood. If you stop liver cleansing or you stop some sort of cleanse, these toxins are now in the blood, bouncing off your organs, causing inflammation and a lot more damage than if you had just left them alone from the very beginning and let them stay in your fat cells where they're at least not harming organs. So a lot of people will notice that they start to feel better, but then as soon as they take a break, their symptoms come right back, and it's just because there's a lot more toxic load that your body has been releasing like throughout this phase, and now they're just in the body waiting to be eliminated. But if you're not supporting your liver, then they're not eliminating or leaving the body. Am I making sense? Comment below if you guys are confused, because I just want to make sure that you guys are understanding what I'm trying to explain. So that's the whole point of this, is when you have a lot of toxins in your body, the reason why your body is putting them into storage is because they're not going to be causing inflammation. Whereas if they are just floating around in the blood, they literally can bounce off any organ system. They can damage your liver, your kidneys, your adrenals, your thyroid. So at least if they're in the fat cells, they're not per se harming you as much. And it's a very big decision when you decide to cleanse, because you can't just do it haphazardly, and you can't just stop and not continue and follow it and see it through, because that's not how the body works. If you are all of a sudden stimulating this phase 1 detoxing, toxins are coming out, and then you just stop and you're not supporting your liver anymore. Your liver it needs a lot of help. So it's all of a sudden not able to bring these toxins out, and they're just sitting in your body, and you will get worse and worse. So it would have been better in that case to just not cleanse at all, or at least just eat healthy, but not try to do any type of strong detoxing. Sorry, there's just like a Okay, good. Glad I'm making sense. So that's what this whole video is for. So in terms of how should you be going about this, when you make the decision to cleanse, and when I mean cleanse, I mean actual cleanse, like supporting your liver and doing like actual things. Diet is separate. It's always a good idea to start eating clean, as that's a very slow but natural way to detox. So if you just do diet alone and you're pretty consistent with it and as clean as you can be, you'll be draining and detoxing very slowly, that there wouldn't be much inflammation if you all of a sudden stopped, for example. So excuse me. So diet's not so much I'm talking about. I'm really referring to herbs for the liver or doing some sort of candida cleanse like antifungals. Your body works in phases. So what you want to do is like always start with some sort of liver support. And when I work with clients, we will literally do liver support from day one for a good year or a year and a half, like however long it takes. Like just keep doing liver cleansing throughout every phase. So throughout the candida phase, heavy metal phases, mold phases, leaky gut phases, just support the liver and kidneys, because over the years, you know, your symptoms and your toxins, they didn't come up and happen overnight. They've built up for many years. So if you think about how many toxins have been stuffed into your fat cells and into your joints and tissues, it's a lot. So over that year, you want to make sure you're supporting your liver until pretty much all the toxins have been brought up and out of your tissues, so that the little toxins that are left, your liver should be able to handle no problem. So always support the liver. And if you do a good few weeks of that but then stop, your liver just gets overburdened again and you're literally back to where you were. So in order to do this correctly, you want to make sure you're supporting your liver. If you're like, you know, for some reason there's like something big happened in your life where you just don't have money for herbal supplements that month, or something for your liver, at least do lemon water, at least do chlorophyll, drink a lot of water, do probiotics. So you're at least getting some sort of support for drainage and detoxing, rather than just kind of stopping and not doing too much. As you want it, like I said many times, make sure you're supporting your liver. No, I'm not familiar with Live 52, I don't think. And sorry, there's some construction happening, so that's what that saw is, that noise. Okay, awesome. Glad I'm making sense. So with Candida, usually I say you want to do a good 90 days to make sure you're getting the full life cycle of Candida and parasites and other bacteria that might be present. But that's a very approximate kind of generalized rule of thumb. Everyone's different. So some clients we've done 6 months of cleansing because they've had severe mold toxicity and things like that. Other clients, 60 days was sufficient. So it really depends on the person. But if you're doing, parasite cleansing, you cannot just do a month and then take a month break and then get back into it, because those parasites would have regrown and you're back to square one. So this is what I'm talking about when I say consistency. If you are attempting a candida cleanse, do it for the full, however long it takes, 90 days, 6 months, however long it takes. You can take little breaks so your body's not adapting to supplements. So you can do like 3 weeks on, 1 week off, 3 weeks on, 1 week off, or 3 weeks on, 2 days off type of thing. So little breaks are fine, but don't just like stop taking it and then, 6 months down the road be like, oh, I'm going to start it up again and I'm not feeling any better and I actually feel a lot worse. Why is that? Well, it's because you weren't cleansing consistently. Your body is very smart, but so are bacteria. So just like antibiotics, if you stop antibiotics mid-course, then the bacteria that has been left is even that much stronger, so they're more resistant to that antibiotic. And the same thing goes for natural things. If you're fighting candida and then you just stop because either you run out of money or you just kind of get lazy and you don't want to take the supplements, the candida that still survived is that much stronger against antifungals, and it's that much longer and that much harder that you have to go the next time you try to clear them. So be very careful with any phase, and the point of this video is pretty much go consistently through each phase and don't stop. It's so worth it. If you're attempting to do this type of cleansing, save up so that you'll have enough to get through all the phases. If you do, a few months on, and like I said, like 4 months off, even if you're still doing some supplements, if you're not really supporting your elimination pathways to handle all the toxins that have been brought up, you'll just go right back to where you were. And then it's just like starting from ground zero again. So hopefully this all makes sense. I just wanted, it was so much easier to just come on here and share this message rather than replying to DMs, because everyone's asking the same thing, and rather than commenting on YouTube. So I hope that just by actually like physically explaining it, that it's making sense. How do you support the liver? So I'm not going to answer too many questions. Sorry, I am like on the floor, so my legs are numb. I'm not going to answer too many questions because I do have a consult, but just to answer like a very few, I have many liver videos on YouTube, so please check them out, as I think you'll get a lot of good insight. Homeopathics are hands down the most effective, most efficient way to go about liver cleansing, so that's what I recommend for everyone. You will save money in the long run because they're so powerful that you don't need to do them as long or as much. They're a lot more gentle on your liver, whereas herbs can be more harming initially if you have major liver issues. So homeopathics are my favorite, but if not, then you can do herbal remedies, and I have all of that explained in my liver video. I have several liver videos actually. What detoxes do you recommend? I recommend millions, no, not millions, but a lot, dozens, depending on your symptoms. Some people will need to do, always liver, kidney, that's main. Lymphatic, colon are pretty general. And then you might have to do lung, like if you have respiratory issues, lung support, heavy metals, mold, candida, parasites, the list goes on. Glyphosate's a big one that I like to do for people. Some people I do specific vaccination drainage if they've had a lot of vaccines and are having some side effects. So it just depends on you. Rheumatoid arthritis gets so painful and worse when it's time for my period. What do you recommend doing? If your arthritis is flaring, it's definitely a hormonal component, which is to do with the liver. When your liver is not functioning, it means any hormones that your endocrine system is pumping out, the excess of those are not leaving the body. They recirculate, they start to cause inflammation, and again, everything gets stored into joints, so a flare is very common. So I do recommend, and also if you have a lot of estrogen, it means calcium's being pulled out of the bones. So you do want to make sure that you're supplementing with minerals. So calcium, magnesium supplements, highly recommended during that time, and liver support. How do you know when a cleanse is finished? You know when you feel amazing. So never stop liver cleansing until you're done with your phases. So if your goal is to just clear candida, seal up the gut, you don't think heavy metals or anything else is a problem, then do your liver cleansing throughout those 3 phases. Liver, candida, leaky gut, and then I would continue liver for a little bit longer even, just to be safe. But you will know when you feel amazing. If you stop cleansing and then a few days or weeks or months later your symptoms come back, whether it's skin issues or headaches or anxiety, then get right back on. It means you weren't done. So general rule of thumb, I say everyone should do 1.5 years of liver support, maybe even 2 years. I am almost 2 years and I am still doing liver support, nowhere near as hardcore as I used to, but I still do lemon water and I still do some herbal teas and I still do some liver supporting homeopathics here and there as well. It's just to be on the safe side. If you think of all the food you eat's laden with insane amount of carcinogens and preservatives and food colorings, loaded with sugars, all the stress that we have, which creates a lot of uric acid, acidic toxins, the makeup we're wearing, the detergents we're using, the candles we're lighting, everything is toxic. The car fumes, literally everything is toxic. Our paint has VOCs, which is off-gassing. So if you think of all of this built up over the years, all the candida, possibly the mold you might have just in your body, a year does not seem unreasonable. 2 years does not seem unreasonable for liver support, as it's your main detox organ. So I'm pretty much going to sign off, guys. How much time did you take to eat without pain? When I started with the IBS, I just focused on reducing gut inflammation, and within a few weeks I felt better. But as I did candida cleansing and all that, I started to feel really, really good. It did take a few months for sure. So basically, don't start cleansing, detoxing until you're fully prepared to do so. Yes. So when I say cleansing, I mean actual like antifungals and things like that. Diet, start right away. Always, work on diet, herbal teas, hot lemon water. That stuff's great, and you can do that whenever. But when you're physically doing a cleanse, like you're doing homeopathics or you're doing antifungals for candida, parasites, or a mold cleanse, etc., yes, don't start until you're ready to see it through, as you'll waste money if you stop prematurely, if that makes sense. So I'm going to sign off. I don't want this video to be long, but that's just what I wanted to share with you, because it's such an important message. And I know a lot of people don't realize that if you stop, and I know that people will stop for a lot of good reasons, whether it's budget or, family issues, etc. So I know a lot of things are out of your control, but if you are stopping a cleanse for whatever reason, at least do the bare minimum and do some liver support and make sure you're consistent with that. I had a few clients who stopped for a good 3 to 6 months, a few of them, and their symptoms came back, but they came back 10 times worse. And they started getting discouraged. They were like, I'm feeling worse than I did even before seeing you. What's happening? And it was simple. It was to do with the liver. And when we started supporting the liver again after that break that they had, they felt amazing. So it's just support the liver always. That's the biggest piece of the puzzle for most people. And just start a cleanse when you're prepared to see it through. It might take a year. It might take 2 years. It might take 3, depending on if you have major, nervous system issues and toxicity issues. So just be patient, but consistency is the most important. If you miss a day or something here and there, that's fine. It's just what I mean is like breaking for a few months or a good few weeks. So hope this makes sense. Hope it wasn't too loud with the saws in the background. I got to go hop onto a consult, but I want to share this with you guys. I'll be having some more videos coming out, including another food that people think might be healthy, but is not. So I'll be continuing that series. So stay tuned for everything. I love you all, and we'll chat soon.